And welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Friday, August 27th. That took too long. In this episode, what the holy hell is going on? The Kane deal is off. Cristiano Ronaldo in. Mendy in jail. And there's football going on. Chelsea and Liverpool, City and Arsenal. But first, Mike, how did you consume the madness that was today?
Just a lot of alcohol. I drink in the mornings, and this is the reason why. It was wild. There's so much stuff going on. Almost, it feels like simultaneously, right? Like, you had the Kane news. Then you basically had City panic, and they're like, okay, well now we need a striker. I think, sort of, maybe. Do we? Want we? So there was a lot to kind of absorb. I was sitting in Harry Kane land pretty much all week, so I'm like, look. I was skeptical that he was going to go. He ended up not, announcing on social media, again, using his words very carefully, right? He said, I'll be staying this summer. So, which made Sky Sports pivot immediately to like, well, maybe he'll go in January. Like, fuck you, dude. But yeah, I mean, then the Ronaldo stuff, right? Like,
and then the
weird thing is that
he's going to sign a contract is the other thing.
Yeah. Right. And so the thing about early days in the Ronaldo saga, which was, I don't know, 72 hours ago.
Not even today.
But the word initially, right, when one of the conversations was that Kane might be leaving, was that, well, Paratici brought Ronaldo to Juventus, maybe. And it's like, what in the world? Why would he, like, why? Oh, Cristiano Ronaldo starring in the Europa Conference League. That makes sense. But there just was no reason. I genuinely wouldn't want him at Spurs, as talented as he is. He's 36, and he would upset everything that the team is trying to build right now. And I think it would be a more exaggerated failure of what has happened sort of at Juventus.
He has the quality of like a Mourinho as a player kind of thing.
Yeah,
he's way more successful, but just it becomes very much a Ronaldo.
It's Ronaldo's world, right? And I mean, it would be fascinating. It would make for great television, but I'm not sure that that's something that I don't, at the end of the day, would want to sign up for or be happy that I did. Similar to the Mourinho saga, like you said. So, but let's talk about how he's going to look in Manchester City blue.
Yeah. On the City side, it was, okay, Kane's gone. We kind of like did a minute of that and did a little bit. I did a lot of Rory Delap tweeting. Not Rory. Yeah, Rory Delap, my
Liam
guy.
Delap.
Liam Delap. Sorry, his dad was the long thrower. Rory. Got it wrong. He used to play for Stoke. Liam Delap, I'm a big fan of his. He set the record for goals in the PL2. I've been tweeting about him. Then the sort of Ronaldo stuff started happening. And then you start hearing about Mendes. And all I could think is like, that guy's a real agent. And Harry Kane does not have a real agent because I think a lot of this is generated by Mendes. Mendes is flying to Manchester. Mendes is talking about Bernardo, who's on Manchester City. Mendes is here. Mendes is there. Mendes is taking the calls from Juventus and going to City and saying, hey, Cristiano wants to leave. Let's do this. He's making this move happen. I think City are in a power position. They're like, we're cool. Like, we walked from Kane. We'll walk from him. Pitch us. Tell us why Ronaldo should come here. Right. Then you sort of heard the machinations happening. That Juve wants him out, that there's some movement on this, and then it becomes like he's agreed to terms because Mendes is like, you're fucking moving. We're not staying here.
We're out of here, kid.
Yeah, we're out of here. And then it's a question of fees. Juve wants $25 million. And then in my head, I start thinking, Mendes, you want it? You fucking pay it. Right? Like, where's Nike? Like, someone pay this money. Like, if City's not going to pay. Well, if Ronaldo and Mendes want to go so bad, pay the fucking fee to Juve. Go.
I mean, Mendes is of that 25, he's getting 12 of it, right? Let's make no mistake. He's working for the money.
The move. I think the other piece that's interesting is just like all these from a City perspective, I've convinced myself now, yeah, it's fine. Ronaldo, yeah, perfect. I love it. I'm in. Like, because I went through FB Ref, I'm like, he still shoots 5 times a game. His XG is still 25 goals a game. Does he shoot every time? Yes. Does he press? No. So that part is tough. He still is going to have to play Pep Roulette with the rest of them, right? I think He'll move in and out of games, and I think there's going to be a major man management thing. I do feel like strong-willed strikers do have a hard time with Pep. If you know about Barcelona, you had Samuel Eto'o. He had beef. He had beef with Zlatan. Zlatan has beef with everybody.
Yeah,
he
he doesn't
kind of
like
had a
anybody.
little, like, Thierry Henry was at the end. He still had a little beef, not at the end, but he was not the Thierry Henry. He had a little beef with him. So Pep needs to be the personality on the team. And if Ronaldo is willing to be like, okay, whatever, what I do love about it is he will be the first City player. And as much as I love Aguero came at it from a I love playing football, football is life kind of way. He's more in that realm of like, I'm just going to score goals. I love it. He's not a Kobe maniacal, like, give me the fucking ball. I'm scoring goals here.
Yeah.
This is the point. I'm the goal scorer, right?
Yeah.
He's Jamie Tart to the other way there, right? Like, he's the game. And that is what City needs. I think City does need a leader on the field, someone who's like, when Raheem Sterling misses a pass or takes a shot that Ronaldo is going to expect, he's going to go, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Right,
I'm open. Fuck you, right? Like, we're winning this game because of me. And City needs that. And that's where my convincing comes in. But it is exciting. I mean, it's all bonkers. Let's sort of sit back and think about the last 3 weeks. Messi was going to sign a contract, left, went to PSG in what seemed like 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal, seismic. Then
Lukaku.
That happens. It's cool. Lukaku out of nowhere is just like, oh, I'm leaving Inter and I'm going
back to Chelsea.
Oh, okay. That's fine. And it's $100 million and no one talks about it because Chelsea, we'll talk about that in a minute. Why they get a pass on how much players cost is beyond me. Then the other piece is, then after that happens, then we have the Kane saga, which felt like 4 years. But then in the middle of it, there's an Mbappe saga that's like, oh, right as we speak.
Oh, by the way,
and we don't really talk about this, Real Madrid is willing to pay 170 million pounds. I mean, euros or whatever. For to get him out 1 year early.
That's so okay. Let's talk about that for a quick second.
Insane.
I had a thought about this, and if I'm Mbappe, right, I understand. I idolize Ronaldo. I want to be the next Ronaldo. I want to go to Madrid. I want to win multiple Champions League and set all these records. And no, I'm gonna go. Right, that's unquestionable at this point. Whether I go now or whether I go next year. But if I'm Mbappe and if I'm one of these super agents, if I'm Jorge Mendes, who clearly doesn't represent him.
I think it's his parents, his family.
Right. Okay, fine. Well, we've seen how well that worked out with Kane. But if I were his agent, what do I tell him to do? You're 21, 22 years old, whatever he is at this point. You stay at PSG in this super team. You play with Lionel Messi. You run roughshod over Europe, which, by the way, we have to talk about the Champions League groups.
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I just remembered it.
Another time.
we might have to talk about it in the next show, but do that for a year. Stay home. Stay at your boyhood club and all that stuff. Go try and win the Champions League. Then you're a free agent. If Real Madrid is trying to bid 170 million euros,
that goes to you.
Yeah, to PSG. Just tell them I'll take half. Right, give them the discount.
Yeah. But I just think if I'm PSG, I'm putting up the Maginot line that works. Not letting the German Panzers go over it, or the fucking Spanish Panzers, or whoever has Panzers.
The Spanish Panzers.
And I just think, like, the whole point of getting Messi on a free is to have this moment where you literally take over football and you are the circus coming to town, and you can own international football for a fucking season. City are going to get to play them twice. It could be Ronaldo versus Messi. That was in the Champions League.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. By the way, did you know that Lionel Messi has scored more goals versus City than any other team in the Champions League? That's his number one team that he abuses. James Milner is still spinning around on the floor, wondering what happened there.
Oh God, I remember that.
Yeah, and then but that's happening. There's a lot of transfer stuff going on. It's incredible. But we kind of want to go take a step back and really look at what the hell is going on with City. It doesn't seem that City can get anything over the line. Like, what are they doing? Why did they think that they could just get Kane to move? Are they coaching him? Do they know how to affect a transfer big like this? Like, this is really one of the first bigger transfers that they've done since Chiki Bergeristan has been the director of football / GM. I don't know what language to use. Football director, technical director, whatever it is. He's the guy who brings in the players. He's the scout. That's his department.
And Grealish was
And it's
easy
just
because
like,
it was
easy, right? It was a clause, right? But in this case, it seems like City just gets jobbed, like, or just gives up at some point or whatever. And I think one of the things to think about is look at all those guys. So Ferran, I forget his last name, and Chigi,
Torres.
They both worked under Laporte, who was back at Barca. Those guys are not good business people. Like, they had a lot of money to spend, but they're doing well with City and they have a lot of funds. But when I look at it compared to, we'll talk about Chelsea in a minute. City have the same academy. They sell their players for half the price than anyone else. Like, there's City players out there that they get nothing for. Like Angelino went to Leipzig for nothing, and Nemecha and a bunch of other guys, and Pozo, and there's all these little guys that if you know your team, you know that there's guys floating around, but they never make any money. And then you think about like Ryan Brewster, the only player that Liverpool pumped up. They got 35 million for him, and he stinks.
Hey.
And so I wonder what City are doing. Like, they seem to be really inefficient with their investing in the club, and that's great. They have this great academy, but they seem to just lose players, and they lose them in a negative way. And Sancho just goes, and then they get like this nominal sign-on fee and let him go to United. It's just like, that should never happen, right? Like, City should have chose where he went, right? Like,
well,
it's just bizarre. They feel like they're shit Barcelona in disguise in a way. Just like, so, what are they doing?
I think their philosophy, and I'm extrapolating, I'm looking at it from the outside, but I look at Phil Foden, who was the golden boy of their
kid.
No, I know, but this is why I think they only have one. And I think that they groom kids to become Foden, De Bruyne, Aguero, a company at the back, and then they never give them a shot. You talked about Liam Delap. Why in the fuck isn't he getting a look, right? Because at some point, why not, right? You're playing Arsenal this week. We'll talk about that later in the show. Arsenal's defense, Arsenal's center backs might as well be me and fucking you at this point. Put the kid out there.
He's as strong as Lukaku. He's the Lukaku. He's a.
I understand, but my point is that they identify that these kids are or aren't
amazing
up to first team Manchester City quality, which by the way is stratosphere level crazy talent. And they go, all right. And they deprioritize at that point. They send them out to loans, but they don't really
even send them out to loans. They don't really. Yeah, there isn't like think about how long Loftus-Cheek has been out. He's still a Chelsea player. He's 24.
No, I know. And that's the thing.
But that just like they don't have that system.
You're right.
Just
right. So like we talk about the Chelsea loan army,
the assets, and Tammy Abraham. He was still a Chelsea player. This is now year 5, and they got a big fee for him. City never get a big fee for anyone.
Right. And so that's kind of where, but that's what I think. I think they identify the potential in a Phil Foden to become a player like a De Bruyne, like an Aguero, like, you know what I mean, in that first team. And they look at him as the golden goose. And it's almost like they hatched 20 eggs and they found the one golden one. And they're like, well, fuck the rest of them. And this is where the Barca in disguise comes in, because if they were, I understand they have more money than God, and it's important, but there are other teams that have the financial wherewithal and power that you do as well, but they also are bringing players through. Actually, and I shouldn't say that. Chelsea's the example, right? They don't have as much financial flexibility or power as you.
They spent it early. They developed a system.
Right.
They still spend at the right moments.
Exactly, but their net spend is relatively even.
Right? They now have a process by which they can generate revenue and buy players they need.
And the reason why you don't hear shit about the Lukaku 100 million or the impending Koundé for 50 or 60 million is because they sold Zuma for 35 to West Ham, right? And so their net spend really isn't very high at all. And
they have a revenue generating system.
And I think I want to talk about something that, and this is going to bother me because I'm going to say more nice things about Chelsea than I ever want to or should, but you got to give a lot of credit. And by the way, this whole woke movement, this whole empowering women movement, right?
There's one been there the
There's
whole time.
There's one that's been there the whole time. She is an absolute rock star. If you people had your heads out of your asses, you would be talking about Marina from Chelsea, the queen of transfers, and how she has
literally
not so much built, but completely sustained Chelsea in a time where Roman Abramovich, their owner, is not welcome in the fucking country. Okay.
Yep.
He's basically got an ankle bracelet on watching games from his couch because if he moves outside of that door, there's going to be a tank waiting for him. Okay.
He's got a yacht that they showed pictures of. So yeah, Marina.
I'm not capable of her saying her last name.
Granovskaia. We have it there. Granovskaia. Excuse me. It's Granovskaia. Is literally the queen of transfers. She has generated almost $1 billion in £1 billion, probably $1 billion in transfers for Chelsea. Chelsea did have a little dip. They did get, let's be fair. They did get in trouble for signing players. They had a little ban for a year.
Yep.
Then we had the Frank Lampard thing.
But again, think about how much more important the Chelsea loan army is, that they didn't really miss a beat in that year and a half, 2 years.
Nope.
Right? They weren't allowed to sign a player or two. And then they kind of, they knew it was coming. So they signed one or two well before that. And then they went on a big splurge right after it before that season.
But it was Pulisic, who was like, he's
okay,
a nice
fine.
player. Yeah.
Even more to the point, you've got a guy like Mason Mount pushing him out of the side. Where the fuck did he come from? Right? It was from their system.
Yep.
So you've got your cake and eating it too. If you're Chelsea, you're bringing up kids as much as you can. Tammy Abraham featured in the side last year. Tammy Abraham was a player who pushed new sexy signing Timo Werner for playing time the whole year, right?
Yep. Until a German genius came in and was like, this tank is running on diesel. It will blow up if it's hit with a rocket. We need Werner to run and Tammy Abraham. Bye-bye, American boy. We see you later. I hate
and they get 40 million for him. Right. And the name that screams out to me is who's going to be the next one like this is Billy Gilmore. Right. He's one of their hot prospects. He's at Norwich this year. He's going to have a great year for Norwich. I'm certain of that. And a team like Norwich, like Southampton, like a team in the bottom half of the table.
There's like a half a dozen big signings that teams are pumped about. Like, dude, two of Crystal Palace's starters are Chelsea players.
Yeah.
Gallagher, who's incredible, the blonde-haired kid who's kind of nutty and troublemaker, and then Giel is a defender in the back. Tomori is still playing out in Europe. I mean, they got guys everywhere.
Livramento was just the kid we were talking about last week from Southampton.
Amazing. Chelsea.
He's a Chelsea loan army or alumni, I should say, right?
Of the year at their level.
So let's give some context to Marina's numbers here. In the last 10 years, you mentioned $1 billion. It's 829 million pounds worth of transfers out. That means you brought in 829 million for the club, in addition to game revenue, in addition to all the other P&L
in addition
columns.
To basically when you loan, you get paid. They at least pay the salary or at least give you some kind of compensation.
No, of course. But so what I'm saying is, over those 10 years, if you have the match day revenue, the Champions League revenue, all of that stuff, you also have a column that says 829 million in it, right? So let's put some context to that, because that's a great number. It's awesome. But what does it really mean? Okay. The second highest in that span is Liverpool. Again, a team that does great business. The Coutinho signing, right? The Coutinho selling, I should say. We talked about it a lot.
Funded the
Mane, Salah, Van Dijk, and Alisson. Pretty much. Yep. There you go. Right?
Yeah. I mean, Mane was there before, but basically.
Okay, sure. But great business, right? They, in the last decade, have 650 million in. Spurs are third with 550 million. And by the way, they barely sold Eriksen, right? So like that, they're a relatively frugal team.
That's the thing that's frustrating. Like, you've got Levy, who's lauded in this Kane saga. Oh, you took on Levy. He's so shrewd. He's so shrewd. Meanwhile, Marina's just like, shrewd what? Well, who's shrewd? I'm fucking
she's
shrewd.
Fantastic. She's brilliant.
Yeah, like, where are the Spurs players that are loaned out and kicking ass? Nowhere. Right. They're not. Essentially, they've created, like, Chelsea are like funding the lower leagues, and they're loyal. They'll bring guys back. Like Lukaku was probably like, yeah, I'm coming back. They'll bring Tammy Abraham back. I'm sure they have a buyback at 80 million eventually.
Well, he's going to play for Mourinho, right? So we'll see him get tired of that in 2 years, and he'll come back to Chelsea. But no,
well, you never
that's
know.
the thing.
Remember, I made number one scorer Inter. I made number one scorer Spurs. I made number one scorer
I hate that
Manchester United.
One more number for you, just to give context: 430 million in Manchester City. That's almost half of what Marina has done at Chelsea in that same time period.
And we have a good academy and good players that have moved on.
Yeah. So we're going to move on, but we can't talk enough about her. And frankly, you should be too, because she's unbelievable. She's the reason why Chelsea are the European champions.
I almost want to go on like your fucking Sarah Spains and Mina Kimes and be like, yo, you guys are held up and I love them. They do good work. Where is the fucking profile on this? Hey, Pablo Torre on fucking ESPN Daily, who likes to talk about all this shit. Do the bio on this woman. Unless you're scared and she's a spy and she's going to have you killed. Also possible, right?
Possible.
Like there is a Stalinist connection here. Like Roman Abramovich is worried. He's on Trotsky watch. He might fucking find the KGB might find him. Like Putin, Trotsky, like they deal in poison. Shit could go down. Like I'm sure... Definitely. If Chelsea gets sold, Putin's going to be like, where's my money? Like, I let you have the money to make Chelsea, so give it back to me. Maybe Marina Granovskaia is actually a killer, and we don't know, but her name is on the fucking ledger.
Based on the numbers that she puts up, she is probably, she's probably a killer. She's probably killed before with her bare hands. Definitely.
I mean, we love her, but we should probably talk about the match week because so much has gone on. Fucking Ronaldo, this, that, Marina, But we have Chelsea going head to head into Anfield. This is a early marker. Obviously, it's just another game. It's just 3 points, and that's true, right? It is just another game, and it is just 3 points. Like City losing to Spurs, we can argue, it's fine, no big deal. It's first game of the season. But for Chelsea to go to Anfield in the last, I guess we had 2 seasons of lockdown. It kind of feels like City's season of winning was kind of a weird one. No fans at all. But Anfield, this is their first real defense, if you will, because they now have their players. They've got everyone back. They love Harvey Elliott that I talked about with Blackburn from my buddy who's playing striker at Southampton. He was the leading assist man for them. They're using him in the midfield. So they are regenerating some players in there. We saw Jota taking in for Firmino. So we're hoping that Liverpool is not going to run that 3 up front again. But they're there, and this is a time to see where Liverpool are and get another winning streak at home going. And these are old rivals. There is a secret little Chelsea-Liverpool is a big one. It's slip. It's Dembaba. It's Gerrard. It's Mourinho dancing on this touchline. So there's some heavy stuff here, and I'm excited for this. I don't know what will happen. I don't think Liverpool are as good as Chelsea, but this is a real test.
So that's the interesting thing that we were talking about before we recorded. And a year ago, if Chelsea go into Anfield, you're saying, man, this is a really good measuring stick game for Chelsea to see where they are amongst the top 4 and if they're really title contenders this season. And now, a year later, Chelsea are European champions, and you're sitting here and you kind of say that about Liverpool, even though they're home, right? So Liverpool, I understand that they have had an absolute laundry list of injuries to deal with over the last 12 months, but they've lost a lot of their swagger. And this is a game.
They got to get it back.
This is a game where they can either get their groove back or they wobble a little bit, just like they did last year. And it is early. It is just 3 points. It is, it's a big 6-pointer, but nonetheless, it's a game where Liverpool, I feel like a statement will be made either way here, unless they draw, I suppose. But if they draw, it's a good result for Chelsea, I think. But I would hesitate to say that Liverpool are the stronger side, similarly you said. But the weird thing is, it's going to probably be very Lukaku aside, very similar lineups to what they were a year ago, on paper at least. Without the Liverpool injuries.
I do wonder about one thing. We saw Arsenal not match the 3-5-3 that Chelsea plays with the wing backs, right? Where they play 3 at the back and they have the 2 defensive. Will Liverpool adapt, or will they try and have to sort of, can Robertson, who's injured but coming back, and Trent Alexander-Arnold really try and mark James and Alonso 2-on-1 when those wingers come in? And then what is Lukaku doing to Van Dijk? Do they just man mark him? It's one thing to fuck with Mari and fucking Rob Holding. It's different when it's Matip and Van Dijk, right?
Yeah.
This is big boy defense, right? This isn't fucking your mom's shitty team. This is, a Henderson tracking runners, making strong tackles. This is no bullshit, right? This is the realest defense they're going to see. Like, City have a great defense because they don't let you have the ball. Liverpool have a good defense because they're in your fucking face, right?
Yep.
And at Anfield, you would expect Liverpool to be defensive and expose what is not exactly the strong. I mean, Chelsea's defense is strong, but they don't have strong defenders, if you will. Like, it's still Azpilicueta and Christensen with Rudiger. I could see Salah turning Rudiger around. No problem, right?
No question.
Especially
And or Mane or Jota.
Especially on the Alonso side, right? Like, as long as they hang out over there. But again, it's going to be a key player will be Mount. Mount kind of covers the gaps because he fucking runs everywhere. And then Lukaku's strength, will he, for lack of a better word, show up in a big game? This is the type of thing that historically in the Premier League, Lukaku wouldn't show up. That it's unfair. Narrative dictates. I mean, it's probably not true, but 3 games where it was on the line and you don't score, we'll see. I think some of the things he got away with, where he was just rolling Mari because Mari just didn't seem to know how to defend, will not happen. Fair. Right? Van Dijk will stay a couple yards off him, put his hand in his back, let him know he's there, then drop off a little bit. The ball will come to his feet, and Van Dijk will just
be right there. Yeah.
But right, not on him, but there, right? Mm-hmm. So there's a nuance. Maybe a yard further back than Mari. Just like, what do you got? If you want to run, I'll run. You're not going to run past me. Mm-hmm. And then Alisson is the other big defensive item there. So I don't. It'll be good. I'm excited for it. And then the other thing that, we have it on the rundown, but just the fact that we're not highlighting Arsenal City is sad, right? Because Arsenal are just. Arsenal are literally plus 1,000 underdogs.
Here's something that we need to keep in mind. If Arsenal do not score in this game, which is very possible, if not likely, their goal of the month will have to come from the training ground. They will not have scored in the month of August.
Harry Kane knows all about that. That was his
That's right.
Remember?
That's right. Couldn't score in August. But Arsenal Football Club will not have scored in August if they are held scoreless at the Etihad, which again is very likely. I could see this as a not in the face game. The only thing I'll say, and I have not heard either way if he has gotten this sorted, but if Martin Odegaard has figured out his visa issues,
he played in the Carabao. I don't know.
Oh,
if
he did.
It's a registration. If they're different.
No, because that should be the FA then. So okay, then he should be good to go. Then that's the only shining light, that you've got him and Smith Rowe next to each other, and assuming he's fit for 90 minutes as well.
Aubameyang had a hat trick.
Yeah,
again in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, I know you want to talk about that in a little bit, but
it's okay. We don't have to.
No. I'm a little worried for Arsenal, right? Like we talked about it in the last episode where, it's not something that would have been over predictable. So, to say from 3 games that they're going to lose to Chelsea and City, but they could lose badly in this game.
It's a bigger thing for them. I don't think their fans expect them to win. They expect them to play hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem.
Right.
Don't be naive. Don't play like you played against Chelsea and get the doors blown off you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Let's talk about our friend Joe.
Hey, there he is.
There he is. Attitude of Gratitude Consulting. That's the Premier League fixture list. But I want to shout out our buddy Joe, Attitude of Gratitude Consulting. He does really great work with all of the things you need to worry about with your finances on a day-to-day basis, the things that keep you up at night. He's the guy you want to go to kind of have that peace of mind a little bit, right? Like he'll find ways to go, actually, if you stop spending money on coffee so goddamn much, then you'll be able to take things a little bit easier, and he'll find the shortcuts, the couch cushion money, as I always say, right? So, and the other thing about Joe is that he's really, really family centric. He's a great down to earth guy. He's easy. He's approachable. And you can see the website if you're watching the live stream. There's so many unnecessary expenditures in your life, and he'll point them out and straight away, and it'll make sense to even a dumb guy like me. So do yourself a favor, and Laurent, do yourself a favor. Go to www.attitudeofgratitudeconsulting.com. You're going to love his site. It's easy to navigate. You can set up an appointment right there. Give him a call. Tell him the Chop Sports guys sent you. And you'll be much, much better off. So once again, that's www.attitudeofgratitudeconsulting.com.
Word. What else do we have, Mike? We have
one other thing I want to talk about is, so I was actually notified by Dave and Chris, the guys who run Chop Sports. They got the daily show. It's a lot of fun. If you actually haven't heard of so far, make sure that you're paying attention to them. They're going through, I think, every NFL team and their wins over unders preview. A lot of fun stuff. They go pretty in depth. But one thing they told me is that all merch on the Chop Sports network, all of our shows, including the Nuno Nose shirt, including our logo, are free shipping. So we're doing this for a limited time. I don't know when it ends, so get on it while you can. The Nuno Nose shirt, as we mentioned, is there. It's ready to go. So you'll have it for hopefully the next, not necessarily Sunday, but the next match, the big North London derby coming up, and Chelsea right before it, if you're a Tottenham fan listening to this. So do yourselves a favor, take advantage of it while you can, because I'm not sure how long it's going to last. They haven't told me. So it's chopsportsmedia.com, and you'll there's a bunch of stuff.
We'll share the link and put it in Twitter. We'll tweet it and annoy people, and go on Spurs hashtags and spam them and see how that goes.
Oh yeah.
That's been working, by the way. So what do we want to talk about, Mike? Do you want to talk about your bets, or do we want to go through a couple more of the schedule pieces just to
let's talk about the Champions League groups. Let's pivot a little
Champions League groups. Love it. Okay. You chat for a second, and I'll pick them up.
I'm gonna chat. So we got some really, really interesting matchups. The draw was earlier today. You've got Chelsea and Juve in the same group. They both will have to travel to Zenit, to St. Petersburg in Russia. So that's a lot of fun. But I'm burying the headline here. Manchester City and Paris Saint-Germain in Group A. It's going to be fun as hell. I'm excited about it. You have the potential narrative again of Messi versus Ronaldo, because last year it was Juve versus Barca in the group stage. So you've got some really, really interesting matchups there. The other thing is that Leipzig are in that group too. You got an American coach, so everybody here has a rooting interest aside from Laurent, right? So it's going to be some fun stuff. You've got a lot of interesting groups. I think the deepest group and the most difficult to predict is B, which has Atletico Madrid, Liverpool, Porto, and AC Milan. None of those are pushovers. I could see, frankly, any of those four clubs coming out of the group. You've got the list here if you're watching the live stream, but a lot of the other ones, you kind of get the feeling that there's two teams in the groups, right? So
that's how it's designed,
and often it is, right? Yeah. So I mean, Group D, Inter and Madrid, and Shakhtar and Sheriff. By the way, Sheriff Tiraspol,
first time they've made
ever. Yes. Shakhtar can surprise. They're a pain in the ass. They're famously a pain in City's ass.
Just because we have to go there.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing, is you have to go to the Ukraine. But I don't see them advancing in the group above Inter or Madrid.
Group C is kind of fun too. I think Portuguese teams are usually pretty fun, and Ajax and Dortmund is like promises to be goals. Besiktas, we know from the Euros, Turkey is shit, and we should never overestimate them ever. They have clearly mentality problems where they don't think they belong there. But yeah, the City, PSG, Leipzig is just like the nouveau riche bowl of teams, right? So you've got City, that we famously are an oil-owned sheikh team. Paris Saint-Germain, owned by Qatar, literally the Qatari wealth fund. And then Leipzig, RB, hated in Germany because they found a way around the 51% rule. And Red Bull, found a way to go around the sponsorship rules and literally to call them RB Leipzig, to not call them Red Bull, but to be like Rasenball. Yeah, like it's RB. So they are, I mean, and then
their sister team in Group G, FC Salzburg.
Right. So also Red Bull Salzburg.
They've got two teams.
Right. Oh, so just so a little bit of history, Marsch was at Salzburg, moved up to Leipzig. Nagelsmann goes to Bayern Munich. Holland was at Salzburg, takes him in the first few group games. We get him on a showcase. Then he moves to Leipzig and goes to and then goes to Bayern from there. So there's a lot of like movement within these kind of systems.
It's ecosystems.
Did he go from Salzburg to Dortmund? I don't remember.
Think of it like the small fish getting eaten by the medium fish getting eaten by the bigger fish, right? So that's kind of how you can look at that.
But it's a sort of like when we're talking about business models, it is a vertical integration that RB Leipzig is doing a really cool job. It's like a really good version of what City tried to do with the City Group. Red Bull does that with all sorts of sports and sports teams. They have teams all Red Bull New York, right? Like Red Bulls. It's the same group. Marsch was their coach as well. So they have this integrated system of strong branding that makes Leipzig actually really good. And one to watch is Forsberg, my guy. I love anyone named Forsberg.
Right. He was one of the standouts of the Euros for sure. For me, from Sweden. And the only other thing I would say about these groups is that the only English team that kind of got off easy is United. And it's not that they're going to play a fun group because Villarreal is always a potential, but Villarreal
they're going to lose. They won't make it. Villarreal has their number. They're better than them. They beat them in the Euro final, and Atalanta is better than them because they have a better coach.
I was going to say,
and and Ole's a moron. I'm telling you, they will not make it out of this group. I will put a fucking bet on it.
There you go. That's an interesting one. So Villarreal and Atalanta. I don't
believe in Ole that much.
I believe you. I could listen. I'm not going to say that they're going to dump out of the group, but they are going to have, for a group that on paper, as I mentioned, of the four English teams, if you could be one, you would want to be United 10 times out of 10. And
except I wouldn't want to be United because I have Ole as my coach.
Your situation. If you could put your team in their situation, you dope. But I think that looking at that group, I mean, I wouldn't want to be in Liverpool's position or in City's position.
No, City, we could not make it.
Yeah. And Chelsea, realistically, they've got a dogfight on their hands with Juve, and then they've got to go to St. Petersburg probably in December. So you're fighting general winter, essentially, at that point.
Marina knows.
Marina knows. That's going to be the next shirt. It's going to be Marina knows. But yeah, I think that United get it done, but they closer than the experts think.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah. I don't think it's easy. I don't think it's easy at all.
It should be, but it won't be.
Weird things happen, but it is designed so the big teams make it. I think the crashing of the party is that you have a Liverpool as a fourth place team, you have Juve as a second place team, and you have PSG as second place teams, and that really fucking breaks things up. And then you've got and Barca as a third place team, even though I do think Barca are shit at this point. Like they are.
Yeah, but they're not going to drop to Benfica and Kiev.
No.
That's the point, right? So,
yeah. But you know what? I don't know, honestly.
Give me one team that's not a name brand that's going to make it in. I think you just said it in Group F, but who do you got? Who's the one surprise team that's going to knock a big name out in the group stage?
I think between Villarreal and Atalanta, one of them will get through. They'll definitely, it's obvious, right?
Obviously, yeah.
Those teams will gain the round of 16, and Atalanta has been the team that has represented Italy in the group stages over the last few years, and they are a team that keeps getting rated. But Gasperini, I think that's his name, has them playing really well.
Atalanta, yeah,
and they'll be fine, and hopefully the Bergamos will move through. But I could see lots of crazy. I think the weird one is Group G, where seriously, FC
that looks
FC Salzburg might be like, we got this.
That's a good Europa League group, is what that is.
Yeah, because Lille are on. They won the French league, but
right, so they were the top
and
team.
Lost all their players. Sevilla. Is Sevilla just an okay team? Yes, they
Yeah.
have won Europa Leagues, but
they're gonna lose Koundé in the next 4 days.
Wow, maybe.
So probably
maybe they'll get a Tanganga instead, right? They'll
never
swap.
They'll never.
No, the other one. Who's the other guy that wants to leave your team? Why don't they just swap?
Oh, and Ndombele.
Yeah.
No, he would be great if he tries.
So
mine is going to be Porto. I'm going with Porto, surprising either Atleti or Liverpool. I think Porto comes in second in that group.
It's just a little Mourinho magic, old school fairy dust coming back for the Portuguese.
Oh yeah.
So before we get to the bets, I do want to make sure we talk about anything that you see in the schedule here, just to make sure that is there any games that you're interested in outside of the
two big ones we talked about? No.
Yeah.
We talked about it off air. Wolves United, the late game on Sunday is really interesting to me. But aside from that, like whole lot of nothing. One actually we should shout out is two of our darlings are going head to head this week. Aston Villa and Brentford.
Villa. Oh, nice.
Aston Villa. Villa and Brentford Latino going version. After it.
David Villa's favorite team.
David Villa. There's going to be a lot of fun in this game to be had, and I'm looking forward to that one. I think West Ham could smash Palace.
I don't know. I want Palace to do well. I want them to because they have young players that I like. Like I love Gallagher. I want Aluse to come back. I want Eze to come back into a good team and see that.
No,
team
I do
play
too.
Well.
They're just not
here.
They
were like the darlings of the transfer. Like you know how like they do the trade deadline and all the sports. Like they won the transfer window. But I don't know if
sort of.
No, they did for the nerds, for the hardcores.
Yeah, but they're all hurt.
Well, but I'm telling you, just trust me.
Yeah, no, but so for Saturday, they're not. You only got to play against the guys who are on the field. So, Burnley leads good versus evil. So I'm not looking forward to that because it's going to annoy the shit out of me. But that's
I'm betting on it, so I'll be watching.
Yeah. And then I cut you off. You wanted to talk about Brighton Everton, which I think is a good.
I don't. Too. I'm just highlighting it because I love it. It's a marker. This is a marker for Brighton. This is like, where are we? Are we better than Everton? And we'll see. Apparently, Rafa Benitez is in for Neil Mope. He just wants a guy who can't score. So we'll see how that goes. He doesn't like Richarlison or he doesn't like Calvert-Lewin. I don't know why he would want Maupe.
No, he has
Maupe. Just if anyone's a Brighton fan, it must drive them nuts. I'm not a Brighton fan. I just want you to know that
you are
from our friends at Fan Hub. They really scolded me on our interview today about you can't like more than one team. So he really gave me a very English stern talking to our friend.
Well, hold on. Well, think about it like this. Because I have thought about it in American sports, specifically with the NHL, with the Eastern and Western Conference. Like, I am married to the New York Rangers, and it's been a very painful, abusive marriage, and so I cheat on them.
I know.
I cheat on them with the Chicago Blackhawks.
I'm also married to the Rangers.
Right, exactly. And so I
will come back to them one day. They will infect my soul.
Oh, absolutely. I come back to them all the time. And they beat me in it, and I'm not really particularly happy about it. But the Chicago Blackhawks are my sexy mistress, or at least they were. They got a little older now, but
new 20.
I gotta get it. Yeah, I gotta trade them in for a new. I might go Florida Panthers. Hey.
Oh we get the rat going.
Yeah. So we That's the Brighton relationship, right? And that's kind of the Brentford Villa relationship.
For me, it's Brighton because of the Ostersons story when they beat Arsenal in Europa and then came to the Emirates and scared the shit out of them. And I wanted to know why there was a fucking manager from Solihull, Moors, and an English guy in the middle of nowhere, Sweden. This isn't like they were playing in Copenhagen. This guy, that's Denmark. They were playing in Oslo. This guy's playing in like Beartown in the middle of nowhere. And why is he there? Why has he got this team moving? And I was always fascinated with Potter. I saw him go to Swansea, played really well there, almost beat City in a FA Cup game in which Aguero went nuts. It was amazing. uh,
But
to tie it up. And so and then they're playing well. Like, and then they have this XG season
it's
that is just like,
likable.
what the
It's
what is
likability, right?
happening here?
Think about it. We talked about it in our season preview about how there's not that many dark arts teams and evil, horrible shitheads like Burnley anymore. But there used to be. That wasn't always like this, right? So you found yourself rooting against those teams and inherently rooting for the teams that were promoting offensive styles, right?
Just by style.
Yeah. So it was the stylistic attractiveness of their football that to the neutral, you find yourself going, man, I hope those guys stick around a little bit, right? So, which buds into a love when you have a podcast.
Yeah, first of us, right? It'll be Leeds Burnley. We will be rooting against the evil ginger fuck that is Burnley, and they are one claret and blue team too many, and they have to go.
It's time to go, Robbie.
It's time to go. Oh,
but God. It is not time to go for us. We're going to talk a little bit about our gambling for the week. Laurent, 0-4-3. Are you pouring one out for Claude there?
Yeah.
Our friend. R.I.P.
I'm glad. He shouldn't have to live in this pain right now. That's the wrong one.
That's the wrong one. All right. Well, we'll go with me. You fix that. Okay. I am going with 3 bets this week. Like last week, you moke. Yeah. So I have West Ham and Palace. I mentioned I think it could be a goal fest. Over 2.5 minus 115. I'm hitting that. By the way, I hit the team total for Tottenham today in the Europa Conference League, so I'm already up. So we're playing with house money at this point, folks. I'm getting into the prop bets a little bit. I think going to Arsenal, Manchester City, a Xhaka yellow card is on the cards at plus 175. I like that a lot. I think that he's gonna hack the shit out of everybody.
Or he won't even get there. That's the bigger problem. Is like he may not even get to anyone.
He may not be able to touch anybody. That is the risk you take there. And you saw it today. If you watch the Europa Conference League, there's a love fest going on in North London. Kane is back. Kane is scoring. I've got him to score.
The game last week that you said you don't care about is now.
I didn't care about the game. I cared about watching how the fans brought him back, right? And it was all about basically it was a dress rehearsal for Sunday. And you're right. I don't care about the Europa Conference League. I wanted to see coherence with the team, right? And Brian Heel looked great. Granted, you're playing against farmers from Portugal. I understand. But the third pick I'm going to have is a Kane goal and a Spurs win over lowly Watford, minus 154. Now, famous last words. He said, I think I've bet on Spurs 2, maybe 3 times in a row now. That's going to come crashing down on my head. I'm well aware of it.
But why not? Why not?
Why not?
And to shift into gear for my stuff is I've got Raphina to score at plus 250 against the dreaded Burnley because we want Burnley to hurt. And we know that if they score, if Leeds score, they'll probably win. Now, they were the worst set piece defending team in the league, so I might have made a mistake here. But this is new to me. I'm an amateur, so play along with me. So I just thought of that. That might be a problem. So that's a good one. And then Southampton, Newcastle to draw. It just feels drawish. These two teams are really far apart. Someone had to travel. They're not happy about it. Like Newcastle's like, oh, fuck Southampton. This is going to suck. So it'll be a drab, shitty game where no one scores. Southampton this week scored 8. They have one. They're on their redemption tour for the 2 9-0s they suffered. They really need to get fucking Leicester back badly. Like just punch Vardy in the face. And then, of course, I have to put 10 crap bucks on Brighton plus 140 against Everton.
That's the money line, right?
The money line, yeah.
Okay.
That's the money line for Brighton. I just think I went for the draw last time, and I regretted it because they played so well. This is for Brighton to go 3-0 and top of the league. I think they can do it because if they're gonna go fucking top 10, they might as well fucking beat teams that play drab shit football. And this is where I find Brighton. Brighton is the antidote. It is the Listerine. It is the cleansing of the dark, foul football arts that are out there. They went and they cleansed Burnley last week, and now this week they're going to cleanse us of Rafi Benitez's darkness that lives in Everton right now. And I think attacking football and light football will live on, and they will win. Despite
we are dancing around the ethnic cleansing references that you are just waiting to make. I hear you thinking.
No ethnic cleansing. None. Ethnic cleansing is out.
Out.
Although I do, I was really thinking about cleaning people and their profession. Really thinking about my own kitchen and my own garage, which is filthy. So I need Brighton to clean my garage.
Yeah,
That's
clean them
what
up.
I'm saying.
Clean them up. We're gonna get Laurent in the win column this week. I'm not sure which one of it's gonna be, but one of those three is gonna hit.
No, I think if
So-
I go 0 for 6, then you should just bet opposite. Whatever I
Well,
say.
you could
don't-
fade. Yeah, hashtag fade Laurent is actually it's not a bad call. I like that a lot actually. So that's where we're at. That's our best bets of the week. We are getting better at this as it goes, but such is life, right?
Yeah.
So those are the picks. Mine again: West Ham Palace over 2.5, a Xhaka yellow card at plus 175, and a Kane goal and a Spurs win.
I have a concern for your yellow card. What if the refs are calling these games differently? That's a little bit of a worry.
That's a good
Not giving
point.
as many
And you know what?
yellows.
I actually should amend that now that you mention it. I shouldn't. You shouldn't bet on it. You shouldn't bet on it at the beginning of the game, and I'll tell you why. Very rarely do you see a yellow card in the first 10 minutes, right? Like if there's a hard foul, then you end up seeing like the ref, hey, one more, you're in the book. So if you hit it live, this is actually a low key kind of idea. If you hit it live, that plus 175 will be like plus 325, right? Because it'll be like, oh shit, there's only 75 minutes left. The math will just kind of tick it up as the game goes on. So maybe look for how he's playing in the first 10 minutes before you wager on that one. But that's probably what I'm going to do. Actually,
okay.
Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. Come to think of it.
All right, Mike. Give me the cue, baby.
Let's get the hell out of here, Laurent.
All right. That was the Squeaky Bum Time podcast with Mike Salerno and Laurent Cortines. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss a show. And if you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show because it makes a big difference. And I want to say our feed is living on FanHub, a new opportunity for us. So we'll be checking them out as well once we get in there. So thanks to FanHub, thanks to Russ for having a chat today, and we're looking forward to that.